There's a white granular powder sitting in the pool supply aisle of every hardware store in the world right now. A single 1-pound bag costs between $4 and $6. That bag contains enough water purification capacity to produce 10,000 gallons of safe drinking water from contaminated sources. 10,000 gallons. That is a family of 4 supplied with clean drinking water for over 13 years from a single $5 purchase. The Federal Emergency Management Agency lists it in its official emergency preparedness documentation as a primary method for purifying water during disaster scenarios. The Centers for Disease Control publishes the exact dosage protocol on its website for treating water during emergencies. The United States military has used it to supply clean drinking water to forward operating positions in every major conflict since the First World War. The World Health Organization includes the compound in its emergency water treatment guidelines distributed to disaster response teams operating in contaminated environments across every continent. Every municipal water treatment facility in the United States uses this exact compound to make your tap water safe to drink right now, at this moment. The water coming out of your kitchen faucet has been treated with calcium hypochlorite, or its liquid equivalent, before it reached your pipes. The compound that your city uses to make millions of gallons of tap water safe costs $5 per pound at retail and purifies water at a ratio that makes every portable filter. Every purification tablet and every countertop filtration system on the consumer market look like an extraordinarily expensive solution to a problem that was solved for pennies over a century ago. Then, the $50 billion water filtration industry did the math. A $5 bag that purifies 10,000 gallons permanently cannot coexist with a market built on filter cartridges that need replacement every 3 months, on portable purifiers that cost $80 to $200 and treat a few hundred gallons before requiring new elements, and on emergency water tablets that cost $30 for a supply sufficient to treat 50 gallons. The math between $5 per 10,000 gallons and $30 per 50 gallons is the entire architecture of the suppression that followed. They did not bury this knowledge because the compound was dangerous at proper dosage. They buried it because it was cheap, permanent, and completely outside the replacement cycle that the filtration industry depends on for its revenue. This is the story of calcium hypochlorite, the compound that every city in America uses to make tap water safe, that FEMA keeps in emergency stockpiles, that the military has trusted in every theater of war for over 100 years, and that the $50 billion consumer filtration industry spent 80 years making sure never appeared in a single camping catalog, survival guide, or emergency preparedness resource they did not control. If this knowledge matters to you, the subscribe button and the bell are the only way to protect it before this video disappears. This is where we open the vaults the industry sealed shut. Stay right here, because by the time this video ends, I'm going to show you the exact CDC dosage protocol that municipal water engineers use and that the pool supply label is not required to tell you, the military field purification method that has supplied clean water to soldiers in jungle, desert, and Arctic environments for over a century, the documented timeline of how the filtration industry lobbied emergency preparedness organizations to exclude this method from consumer survival resources, and the calculation that reveals exactly how much money you have spent on water filtration products for a problem that a $5 bag solves permanently. If you leave now, you will walk past that bag in the pool supply aisle without understanding what you're looking at. Every purchase you make on portable filters and purification tablets is solving a problem this $5 bag has been solving since before any of those products existed. Let me take you back to where this begins. The year is 1820. In the textile bleaching mills of England and France, industrial chemists are working with a compound produced by passing chlorine gas through a solution of slaked lime. The resulting white powder is calcium hypochlorite, and its primary industrial application at the time is bleaching raw cotton and linen fabric. But mill workers handling the compound make a consistent observation that nobody initially documents as significant. Water that has been in contact with calcium hypochlorite solutions does not breed the bacterial contamination that makes mill water sources smell putrid within days. The water stays clean. Bacteria that colonize untreated water tanks within 72 hours do not establish in tanks that have trace calcium hypochlorite contamination from production processes. The observation moves from mill workers to physicians within 2 decades. In 1847, a Hungarian physician named Ignác Semmelweis discovers that doctors who wash their hands in a calcium hypochlorite solution before delivering babies drop patient mortality from 18% to under 2% in a matter of months. He does not fully understand why. Within a generation, Louis Pasteur and Joseph Lister would confirm the mechanism, and calcium hypochlorite would be recognized as one of the most effective bactericidal compounds ever identified. By 1890, municipal water authorities in Europe and North America were chlorinating public water supplies. Cities that did so saw typhoid fever, cholera, and dysentery rates collapse within years. Typhoid deaths in the United States fell by over 90% within 2 decades of widespread chlorination. That is the near elimination of a disease that had killed millions across centuries of human civilization, accomplished by adding trace quantities of a white powder to municipal water supplies. During the First World War, the challenge of supplying clean water to soldiers in field conditions became one of the most critical problems military medical corps faced. Contaminated water was killing soldiers at rates that threatened operational capacity across every theater. The solution that military engineers standardized across Allied forces by 1917 was calcium hypochlorite treatment of field water supplies. The dosage protocols developed by military chemists during the First World War are the direct ancestors of the protocols that the CDC publishes today for emergency civilian water treatment. During the Second World War, the application expanded across every theater. Field manuals from the Pacific Theater describe specific treatment protocols for water from rice paddies, streams, shell craters, and jungle sources using granular calcium hypochlorite under field conditions without laboratory equipment. The compound treated water in Pacific jungles, North African deserts, and European river crossings with identical efficiency because the bactericidal mechanism of hypochlorite chemistry does not vary by geography, climate, or pathogen type. By the 1970s, the outdoor recreation industry had identified water filtration as a significant commercial opportunity. Portable mechanical filtration devices entered the camping market and were marketed on the basis of convenience and perceived superiority over chemical treatment. By the 1990s, a generation of backpackers and campers had been trained to view chemical water treatment as an emergency fallback, rather than the operationally proven solution that military engineers and municipal water authorities had known it to be for over a century. The emergency preparedness sector completed the displacement. Survival product companies packaged calcium hypochlorite derivatives in small quantities at extraordinary per-gallon treatment costs and marketed them as purpose-built survival technology. The consumer paying $30 for 50 gallons of treatment capacity had no framework for understanding that the same chemistry in bulk granular form at the hardware store provided the same purification capacity at 1% of the cost. The information environment that would have connected those two data points simply did not exist in the survival and camping media funded by the filter and tablet manufacturers, who depended on consumers never making that connection. FEMA's own emergency preparedness documentation includes granular calcium hypochlorite as a primary treatment method with exact dosage protocols. The CDC maintains a dedicated page with civilian emergency treatment guidelines. The military's field manuals have documented these protocols continuously since the First World War. Every institutional body with operational responsibility for water safety recommends this compound. The only place this knowledge was systematically absent was the consumer survival and outdoor recreation market that the filtration industry controlled through advertising and sponsored content. Now here is exactly what calcium hypochlorite does at the level of chemistry the pool supply label does not explain, and the filter industry praise you never hear clearly described. Calcium hypochlorite, dissolved in water, releases hypochlorous acid and hypochlorite ions into solution. Hypochlorous acid is one of the most effective bactericidal and virucidal compounds in chemistry. It penetrates bacterial cell walls and oxidizes the internal cellular machinery that bacteria require to metabolize and reproduce. The reaction is not selective. Every waterborne pathogen that contact with properly dosed hypochlorite solution encounters the same oxidative destruction. Bacteria, including E. coli, Salmonella, Vibrio cholerae, and Campylobacter, are eliminated within minutes of contact at correct dosage levels. Viruses, including hepatitis A, norovirus, and enteric virus strains, are inactivated within 30 minutes. Protozoan cysts, including Giardia, are addressed at higher dosage levels with extended contact times. The treatment leaves a residual chlorine presence in treated water that continues to protect against recontamination during storage. This residual protection is the same principle that makes municipal tap water safe to store in your kitchen for days after it leaves the treatment facility. Mechanical filtration produces no residual protection. Water filtered through even the highest quality portable filter can be recontaminated by contact with contaminated containers, hands, or pour spouts immediately after filtration. Chemically treated water carries its protection through the storage and consumption process. Here is exactly what to do, and the simplicity and cost of it will reframe every water purification purchase you have ever made. Purchase granular calcium hypochlorite with a concentration between 68 and 78% available chlorine. This is sold as Pool Shock at every hardware store, pool supply retailer, and many general merchandise stores. The label will say calcium hypochlorite and list the available chlorine percentage. Do not purchase stabilized pool chlorine products containing cyanuric acid, as these are designed for ongoing pool maintenance and not for drinking water treatment. Purchase the unstabilized granular shock product only. To produce a stock chlorine solution for water treatment, dissolve 1 heaping teaspoon of granular calcium hypochlorite in 2 gallons of water. This produces a stock solution of approximately 500 milligrams per liter of available chlorine. Do not use this stock solution directly as drinking water. It is a concentrated treatment agent. To treat water for drinking, add 1 part of your stock solution to 100 parts of water requiring treatment. For practical field application, this means approximately 2.5 teaspoons of stock solution per gallon of water to be treated. Stir the treated water and allow it to stand for 30 minutes before drinking. After 30 minutes, the water should have a faint but detectable chlorine smell. If no chlorine smell is detectable after 30 minutes, the source water has a very high contamination load or organic content, and you should repeat the treatment dose and wait an additional 30 minutes. For treating large quantities of water for storage, use the same stock solution ratio. A single 1-pound bag of 73% calcium hypochlorite granules produces enough stock solution to treat over 10,000 gallons of source water at the standard treatment ratio. At a retail cost of $5 per pound, that is a per gallon treatment cost of less than 1/10 of a cent. The most cost-effective portable filter on the consumer market treats water at a per gallon cost that is over 50 times higher when the full filter lifecycle cost, including cartridge replacements, is calculated. For water with high turbidity or visible contamination, allow the water to settle and filter it through a clean cloth before chemical treatment to remove suspended particles that can shield pathogens from chlorine contact. This pre-filtration step dramatically improves the effectiveness of chemical treatment in heavily contaminated source water. For long-term storage of the granular compound, keep calcium hypochlorite in its original sealed container in a cool, dry location away from direct sunlight and heat sources. Stored correctly, the compound retains its treatment effectiveness for up to 10 years. A $5 bag purchased today and stored properly treats 10,000 gallons of water a decade from now, with the same efficiency as the day it was manufactured. For camping and overlanding applications, carry a small sealed container with 2 to 3 ounces of granular calcium hypochlorite. 2 ounces of granules provides enough treatment capacity for hundreds of gallons of drinking water across an extended backcountry trip. The weight is negligible. The cost is under $1 for that quantity. The treatment capacity is 10 to 20 times what any equivalently priced tablet product provides. One 1-pound bag of Pool Shock costing $5 at any hardware store provides a family of 4 with emergency drinking water purification capacity for over a decade. Supplies an entire backcountry season of water treatment at a fraction of the weight and cost of filter alternatives, and delivers the same chemistry that has made American tap water safe to drink for over 100 years. A former military water purification specialist posted online that he had watched fellow veterans spend hundreds of dollars on commercial filtration systems for their emergency preparedness supplies, while a shelf in the same hardware store held a product that provided superior purification capacity at 1% of the cost. He described attempting to explain this to members of a prepper community forum and being dismissed because the $5 pool chemical did not look like survival equipment. The filter looked like survival equipment. The chemistry that actually worked looked like something for a swimming pool. That is the power of 80 years of marketing over a century of operational chemistry. The municipal engineer who doses your city's water supply knows exactly what calcium hypochlorite does. The FEMA official who wrote the emergency preparedness guidelines knows. The military field medic who treated water in conditions that would have killed an entire unit without it knows. The CDC researcher who published the civilian dosage protocol knows. The only person who was not supposed to know was the one standing in the camping aisle paying $80 for a filter. A $5 bag has been sitting in the pool supply section the entire time. If this vault opens something for you today, subscribe and share this video immediately. Every share puts this knowledge in front of someone who will spend $40 this month on water purification tablets for a problem that $5 resolves for a decade. Every subscription keeps this channel digging in the vaults they spent billions building walls around. The next vault opens soon, and what is buried inside is the one insulation method that indigenous communities in the coldest inhabited places on Earth mastered thousands of years ago, that modern construction science has validated completely, and that the $40 billion insulation manufacturing industry has spent decades making sure never appears in a single building code they did not write themselves.